question, well, basically very closely related to that. The North Sea, which is very close to us, 500 kilometer coastline is to be built with wind parks. So 500 kilometers, you can imagine. If I understand you correctly, in the Baltic Sea, you know, the benefits from the construction of wind parks would be less. However, that would be sort of the green activity. And looking at all you've done, mapping the bird sites and everything, and mapping the seabed, you're basically putting the stop to many of the plans. I'm not supporting some of the ambitious plans our politicians have. Please don't misunderstand me, but you're sort of trying to do what Greenpeace activists didn't do with respect to the North Sea. What they didn't do, saying that you can't do this and can't do that in the North Sea. And wind parks, you know, is the green energy, renewable resources, and it needs to be supported. And now you say this no, this no, this no, this no. And if you look at your map, you know, nothing can be done with the Baltic Sea. Well, no, you have misunderstood me. We are by no means against construction of wind parks. We just would like to see these wind parks being built based on scientific research, because I know that there are quite many activities also in Latvia, offshore activities, where the wind is stronger than, for example, in Riga Bay, and quite many sites have been mapped as potential wind park sites, as potential wind parks. I'm very happy that these reefs are up to 8 or 10 meters deep, and this is sort of this belt where we would like to see these wind parks. Where it is deeper than 10 meters, please build as many wind parks as you wish. It's okay with us. And I've also seen the potential plans, and they are all related to sites or areas deeper than 10 meters, and I'm very happy about that. And then there is another thing, and that's probably my personal view. Nevertheless, I don't know if people, when they come to the sea, they would like to see large turbines working. I would like to see the horizon and the sea, not some kind of propellers making also noise pollution, and these propellers need to be also lighted, and these turbines are not very popular among birds either. You know, birds lose their orientation ability. But if these wind parks go beyond the horizon or in deeper parts of the sea, I have no objections against the construction, but that also has to be coordinated with shipping lanes and everything. Well, in Ieelpa Strait it is nearly impossible, but you know, also these areas that I showed, the nature reserves, the nature park, the wind parks are not restricted altogether there. Yes, we have another question. We'll hear the question now. Hello, I just wanted to ask, what kind of threat to the Baltic Sea originates from the Second World War pollution, because we don't have really very precise information on explosives and everything lying at the bed of the Baltic Sea. Have you photographed anything? Have you found anything? Well, you see, all of these bombs and everything, you know, we have inherited from the World War II are in the deeper parts of the seas. Around 100-meter depth is where you can find them, and we are mapping only up to 3 meters deep seabed. But these gases are inept at that depth. As long as it is as long as it is 4 degrees by the seabed, and as long as these bombs are not brought out and they are not interacting with air, they could be considered sort of conserved right now. But as soon as we start, you know, moving them or doing something with them, that could be a real threat. But we haven't surveyed or researched that. Any other questions? I would like to know, yes. Oh, we have the internet question. Now I need to read it aloud. From which page does it come? It comes from Ieelpa Child, and it's written that there are many heavy metals in the Baltic Sea, and the Baltic Sea is heavily polluted by these metals. Can we safely eat the fish that is fished in the Baltic Sea? Is it polluted really? Is the fish polluted, and what should we do about the pollution? Well, not eat the fish is one of the suggestions. Well, we ourselves have analyzed, for example, the heavy metals in cod and other species, and cod liver contains a lot of heavy metals, and it's not suggested to eat them, but if you eat this codfish twice a month, the heavy metals will not be a problem. I mean, during our lifetime, we accrue different substances in our body, and I think for the time being it is safe to eat cod. It's good that we have the Greek reference instead of dietologists. They say twice a week, you're saying twice a month. One thing that still bothers me with respect to green deeds, one of the first Latvian non-governmental organizations, let's not call the name because today we're talking about the principles, is, well, how can it be bought? An organization that is about to submit the petition on Krievsala and other protected areas in the Riga free port and to the European Commission. As they received a subsidy from a Riga City Council in scope of one of the projects, suddenly decided not to submit the petition, which would be against the development, which would harm the bird population there. So these green steps are stopped halfway. Somebody who's going to complain to the Brussels about the industries who are against the birds, and somebody gives them suddenly the money in order to buy, let's say 4 new computers, and then suddenly this step stopped halfway, and this is a real case that has happened, but the principles apply wider, of course. What is sort of the power of the green movements, green organizations? Can they achieve anything, or can they not achieve anything? And now we're about to sort of have a scandal about Natura 2000, whether it is applicable to Ieelpa Straits or not. Well, let me put it this way. I think that non-governmental organizations have say or have impact on the way things are developing, or direction in which things are developing. I would like to nevertheless emphasize that we are a scientific institution. We are probably the only scientific institution in Latvia dealing with the research of Baltic Sea, and in this respect it's very important to publish the data in various professional publications as well as not so professional publications. I think that I don't really know where the NGOs get the data that they are providing. Are they conducting any kind of research? I think that they are just sort of compiling the data instead of collecting the data, so we should be very cautious when looking at the statements coming out of non-governmental organizations. So what concerns the European Commission, I don't think that the European Commission can really say a member state, that there is another data, which would go against the data of the organization A presented to them. Because these scientific publications are widely available on the internet and in various magazines, and there are databases that are to a large extent available publicly, at least the basic data, and if we announce one set of data, you can compare the set of data to other set of data. So this is, not that we are talking to nobody when we are issuing our reports, because I heard that there have been a case when something has been reported and when you compare it to scientific databases, there is a different data. Well, we heard that in the Copenhagen conference, that some of the, for example, scientists have exaggerated the speed, the rate at which develops the global warming. So your colleagues are also to be blamed for that, not only NGOs. So let's have another quick question.
I wanted to ask you, when decisions are made on different economic activities, do they rely on data provided by your institute? So do you offer data in order to enable someone to make a decision? So actually, some 5 years ago, there was no interest at all. However, recently they show certain interest in different data, and which means that further studies will be carried out, and sometimes we are actually contracted to carry out certain studies in order for some economic operators to make certain decisions.